My name is Anthony Gartner, and this is my presentation on the trend to build security and privacy into IoT devices. I'm going to start with a definition for IoT, and that is the following. The Internet of Things, or IoT, is the system of interrelated computing devices, mechanical and digital machines, objects, animals, or people that are provided with unique identifiers, UIDs, and the ability to transfer data over a network without requiring human-to-human or human-to-computer interaction. I hope that clarified that. That definition was from the whatis.com for the internet definition of IoT. But it is almost impossible to know what that actually really means. The term Internet of Things was actually coined in 1999 by Kevin Ashton. Bad actors are just that. They are guys that want to take over and look at your devices even though you're not wanting them to look at it. You can see a great example by going to shodan.io, which is a website that has a list of all kinds of IoT devices, and you can actually look at the system and see what it says and look up specifics on make, model, type, anything that you want to look up, and even username and password of admin and admin. When I did that, there were 10,000 items on that list. And that's just a small percentage of the ones that are out there and you can see. But you can look for internet phone number, you can look at people, you can look at names, you can look at companies, and you can see exactly what is actually out there. And there's an entire database that you can look at that is massive. This is just a brief showing of what Shodan can give you for results. And that's just off of a free account. It takes nothing to do. A big question is manufacturing to blame? The rationale behind this is that manufacturing is a place where it starts, and before it gets to market, before anything is done to it. And several factors are directly attributed to manufacturing. Here's a few. Devices that are IoT should be addressed in the enterprise security policy. That means that when you buy something from an enterprise, say it's a monitor for water level, that should be in your system. And it should be checked. IoT is a new and large attack vector, and left unchecked and undocumented could result in data breaches. That is the same reason. It is a Trojan horse. It's in your network and it is not secure yet. As a result, IoT can result in large fines and breaches based on regulations such as GDPR. And that's already starting to happen. If you have a data breach, GDPR is going to go in and actually issue fines that are significant. Another part of that is IoT devices are significantly harder to patch every release. That's because there is no patch cycle built into these devices, so they don't show up in your patch management when you go to patch. This is the other one. IoT devices are basically being caught with their pants down because they are not doing things that are best security that have been known for years. Vendors such as router vendors know that they have to have a device that changes the username and password as soon as that device is put online. It can be defaulted back when you do a hardware reset, but it has to change it. Otherwise, the security is just not going to work. IoT can be used to wage war. Imagine your refrigerator sending out a ping 1,000 times. Actually, it doesn't even have to be 1,000 times. It can be a ping that is looped automatically forever, and you do that 1,000 times with 1,000 different refrigerators, and now you've got a damage being done to whoever's receiving those ping addresses. Merari malware was actually an open source system, so people could go online, get the code, insert the data they wanted, go to Shodan, grab the data for what they needed off the database, and then use that to attack all kinds of IoT devices and use them to attack whoever they wanted. This particular attack actually caused the largest outage of any out there. It was a third of the internet. What makes IoT security so tough? Well, it's a combination of several factors. You have to deal with the sheer quantity of types of devices and then the sheer volume of devices that are produced in that type. and none of them are very powerful, so you don't have things like antivirus that you can put on or build into these devices. This is the prime example of why IoT is such an issue. Silly things like security should not hamper a person from being able to use their devices. This mentality is what is causing a lot of the issue with IoT devices in general. I briefly touched on this a minute ago, but devices are not set up for patch management. So unless you go through and manually go in and go to your website and go to the manufacturer's website and download the patch, and if there is a patch, then that's the only way to update it. But most of these are not on any kind of patch management cycle. So it's not like Windows updates where you can just say, hit a button and every third Tuesday you get a new patch. A fear factor. This is specific to a Nest thermostat. A malicious person actually used a stolen identity, so username and password, logged into the person's Nest device, and reported with a very real-sounding warning that North Korea was launching nuclear weapons at the United States on the California coast. This isn't an IoT problem specifically, but it is because the security is so bad. It's time to call in the legal system. Well, hopefully. There are 2 bills in the court system right now for the state of California. And because the state of California is so large, this will in fact make these 2 bills a de facto standard, because anybody that wants to do business in California has to do that. One of these is about the security of the connected devices, and the other is the data that's being collected by these devices has to be made available and made known. Princeton has now reached out and created a tool that's Mac only right now, but it lets you look on your network to see exactly what your IoT devices are actually sending out data-wise. And if you run this tool, it's a very good possibility you will find something you really don't want to see. The tool is IoT Inspector, and you can download it right from Princeton's website. Life is getting better with IoT, though. The European Union is actually using and recommending that the makers of IoT devices use a secure by design concept, which is a very forward-thinking concept and should be implemented by designers that are doing this. That the other part of that is vendors are starting to use that life cycle process. So the patch management, some of these vendors are starting to use that and implement that. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and have a very good rest of your semester.